The birthday candles flicker in the dim restaurant lighting, casting dancing shadows across the untouched glass of Cabernet before me. I check my phone for the 11th time in 30 minutes. Still nothing. My fingernail taps against the screen, creating a rhythm that matches the growing ache in my chest. "Should we wait a bit longer for your guests, Miss Lewis?" I glance up to find the waiter hovering at my table's edge, sympathy etched into the fine lines around his eyes. His gaze flickers between the 4 empty chairs surrounding me and the small cake centered on the white tablecloth. "Just another 15 minutes, please." I summon a smile that feels brittle on my face. It's the 3rd time I've requested an extension, and we both know what that means. I smooth down the front of my emerald silk blouse, the one I splurged on last week specifically for tonight. The fabric whispers beneath my fingertips, cool and expensive. Behind the waiter, couples murmur and laugh. Silverware clinks against china, and somewhere a cork pops from a bottle. The sounds of celebration swirl around me while I sit marooned at my island of solitude. 2 weeks ago, I had booked this table at Ellison's, downtown Denver's newest culinary hotspot. I'd been riding the high of finally securing $1.2 million in angel investment for Verdant Alchemy Co., my natural skincare startup. After 3 years of 18-hour workdays and second mortgaging my condo, someone finally believed in my vision. Family dinner at Ellison's to celebrate my birthday and some big news. I'd texted to our family group chat. "Thursday at 7. I'll make reservations for 5. 3 days passed with no response. I sent a friendly reminder. "Just confirming dinner this Thursday at Ellison's. Let me know if you can make it." Another 2 days of silence. Finally, my 3rd message. "Reserve table for 7 p.m. Thursday. Hope to see everyone there." Nothing. Not from Mom, Dad, or Theodore. My throat tightens as I sip water, the ice cubes clinking against my teeth. This shouldn't surprise me. It's the same pattern that's played out my entire life. When I was 16 and Theodore was 14, Dad took him fishing in Montana for 2 weeks. When I asked why I wasn't invited, Dad had patted my head and said, "He's a boy, he needs investment. You just need stability." That stability apparently meant co-signing Theodore's $18,000 motorcycle loan when I was 22, fresh out of college with student loans hanging over my head. 6 months later, when he stopped making payments, I covered them, rather than let my credit score collapse. Dad had thanked me with a distracted nod, while helping Theodore install custom pipes on the bike. I take another sip of water, willing away the tightness in my throat. My family's always been there for me, just not in the ways that matter. Not in ways that make me feel seen. "Excuse me." I look up from my glass to find a man standing beside my table. Tall, with salt and pepper hair and kind eyes behind tortoiseshell glasses. He's wearing a charcoal suit that looks tailor-made for his broad shoulders. "I don't mean to intrude," he says, his voice warm and rich, "but I couldn't help noticing it might be your birthday." He gestures toward the small cake with its unlit candles. My fingers clench around the stem of my wine glass. "It is." "May I wish you a happy birthday then?" I should politely dismiss him. Instead, I hear myself say, "Thank you." He hesitates, then asks, "Would you mind if I joined you for a moment? Just until your other guests arrive." Something in his expression, genuine kindness without pity, makes me nod. "I'm Farah." "Alexander." He settles into the chair across from me, setting his leather portfolio on the table. "I'm a writer. Books about resilience, mostly." He smiles, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "Though I suspect you know something about that already." "What makes you say that?" "The way you hold yourself. Like someone who's familiar with waiting and disappointment but hasn't been broken by either." My laugh surprises me. "Are you always this perceptive with strangers?" "Occupational hazard." He gestures toward the waiter, who approaches with a lighter. "May I?" When I nod, the waiter lights the candles on my cake. Their glow reflects in Alexander's glasses as he asks, "So, what brought you here tonight, all dressed up and waiting so patiently?" I hesitate, then decide truth is simpler than fiction. I just secured a major investment for my company. Thought my family might want to celebrate. "If I to the celebrate." "Ah," he nods, understanding blooming in his expression. "And they're running late?" "They're not coming." The words taste bitter, like coffee left too long on the burner. They didn't even respond to my messages. "Then they're missing something extraordinary." Alexander leans forward, resting his forearms on the table. "Tell me about this company that earned such impressive investment." For a moment, I consider changing the subject. Then something inside me shifts. Why not enjoy this birthday, despite my family's absence? Why not share my triumph with someone who actually seems interested? Verdant alchemy, I say, feeling a genuine smile spread across my face. Natural skincare products made with ingredients sourced from sustainable farms. I pull out my phone, showing him our sleek website, featuring our best-selling facial serum. We're planning to expand our production facilities with the new funding. Remarkable, Alexander says, studying the images. When he looks up, his admiration feels like sunshine after days of rain. Someone should be celebrating your brilliance tonight. His words unlock something in my chest. As I blow out the candles on my cake, I make a different wish than I'd planned. Not for my family's approval, but for the strength to stop waiting for it. I won't wait for their approval anymore, I whisper, more to myself than to Alexander. The hardest lesson, he says softly, is learning that some people can't give what they don't possess themselves. The waiter returns with 2 plates for the cake. As I cut into it, I find myself telling Alexander about Theodore's motorcycle, about decades of showing up for a family that rarely showed up for me, about building my company while my parents focused on my brother's series of failed ventures. The strange thing is, I say, I think a part of me still loves them, despite everything. Love and boundaries aren't mutually exclusive, Alexander replies. In fact, the healthiest love requires them. As we share cake beneath the restaurant's warm lights, I realize that a stranger's kindness has made this birthday more meaningful than any family celebration could have. For the first time in years, I feel truly seen, and suddenly, that's enough. Morning sunlight spills across my balcony, turning the rim of my coffee cup golden as I breathe in the crisp, bolder air. The distant flatirons cut jagged silhouettes against a cloudless sky. 3 years have passed since that birthday night when Alexander first entered my life, and the universe has rewarded my quiet determination with abundance. My phone chirps with a notification. Another share of yesterday's interview where I detailed Verdant Alchemy's journey from my kitchen counter to a $35 million valuation. The view count has crossed 500,000. I take a slow sip of coffee, savoring the Colombian roast Alexander introduced me to last winter. The new face of natural beauty, reads one comment. If only they knew how unnatural family could be. My phone buzzes again, this time with a call. The name makes my stomach clench. Mom. We've barely spoken in 3 years, beyond obligatory holiday texts and the occasional stilted coffee meeting. I consider letting it go to voicemail but slide my finger across the screen instead. Farah, honey. Her voice drips with sugary sweetness I haven't heard since high school graduation. Did you see my messages? No, I was just... Theodore's getting married. Can you believe it? Our boy, finally settling down with Jessica. We'd love your help with planning the celebration. I grip the phone tighter. That's wonderful news. When's the wedding? June. Listen, sweetheart. We've been talking, your father and I, and we think this would be the perfect time for a Lewis family collaboration. Collaboration? The word hangs between us like a glass ornament, fragile and transparent. Your brand with our family name. Lewis Beauty has such a nice ring. We've always been your biggest supporters. The lie stings more than if she'd slapped me. I stare at the Forbes magazine on my coffee table featuring my company profile. I need to think about that. I manage, my professional voice sliding into place like armor. Of course, honey. Call me back this afternoon? After we disconnect, another message chimes. Theodore. Hey sis, big news about the wedding. Also, my racing team needs a primary sponsor. Only $300,000 for the season. Great exposure for Verdant. Let me know. I place my phone face down on the table. The view from my penthouse suddenly feels isolating rather than peaceful. Later that morning, I sit in my office, reviewing old family photos stored in a dusty folder on my laptop. Theodore receiving his high school diploma. Mom and Dad beaming beside his first racing car. My college graduation, just me, alone in cap and gown, because they'd attended Theodore's regional race that weekend. My phone chimes with a voice message from Alexander. Just saw your interview. Brilliant as always. Remember who you became despite them, not because of them. Dinner tonight? I open a new spreadsheet and title it, Family Financial History. Line by line, I document every loan, gift, and bailout. Theodore's motorcycle. The 6 months of his rent I covered when he found himself after dropping out of community college. Dad's fishing boat repairs when Theodore crashed it during a weekend joyride. The spreadsheet swells to $47,000 of silent support. This isn't about punishment, I whisper to the empty office. It's about boundaries. My CFO Martin knocks before entering with quarterly reports. Everything okay? He asks, noticing my expression. Family matters. If my brother or parents reach out about business opportunities or sponsorship, please direct them to me. Martin nods. Legally speaking, you have no obligation to entangle family with the company. I know, I say, thanking him as he leaves. My phone lights up with a text from Rachel, my oldest friend. Saw Theodore's FB post about needing sponsors. Let me guess he's hitting you up. They didn't celebrate you. Why fund them? I smile despite myself. Rachel always cuts to the heart of things. A card arrives via courier later that afternoon. Alexander's distinctive handwriting graces the envelope. Inside, a quote. Boundaries aren't walls. They're the foundation upon which healthy relationships are built. By evening, I've crafted an email that feels both businesslike and final. I attach the spreadsheet detailing the $47,000 in financial support I've provided over the years. If we're going to collaborate, I write, let's start from zero with full transparency. I hesitate before pressing send, wondering if I'm being too harsh. Then I remember my 29th birthday candles flickering in an empty restaurant while my family didn't even bother to respond to my messages. My finger taps the screen. Mother's reply arrives within minutes. Explosive and familiar. How dare you talk like that? Didn't we raise you to be grateful? After everything we've done for you? I take a deep breath and type my response, each word a quiet declaration of freedom. I was grateful in silence, in money, in tears. Now I'm grateful to myself for finally stopping. When Alexander arrives for dinner, he finds me on the balcony, watching stars emerge above the flatirons. He doesn't ask about my day. He simply stands beside me, his presence a ballast against the storm of emotions. They want to use me, I say finally, not celebrate me. And what do you want? He asks, his voice gentle. I turn to face him, feeling stronger than I have in years, to stop confusing obligation with love. He smiles, taking my hand. Then that's exactly what you'll do. As we head inside, my phone chimes with more messages from my family. For the first time in my life, I leave them unanswered. A week later, the receptionist's voice crackles through my office intercom, interrupting my quarterly projections meeting. Miss Lewis, your mother and brother are here. They say it's urgent. My marketing director raises an eyebrow across the conference table. 5 other executives pause their note-taking, pens hovering over leather-bound portfolios. Tell them, I'm in a meeting. I reply, forcing a professional smile. I'll be out shortly. The intercom clicks again. They insist on waiting. They brought cake? A familiar tension coils at the base of my neck. My family never visited during the 3 struggling years when I worked 16-hour days in a cramped one-room office. Now that Verdant Alchemy occupies the entire 4th floor of a downtown building with our name on the directory, they've discovered an urgent need to see me. 10-minute break, everyone, I announce, setting down my presentation pointer with deliberate calm. Greg, prepare the distribution figures for when we resume. In the reception area, Mother holds a bakery box with both hands like a peace offering. Her hair is freshly colored, the rich auburn she's maintained since her 40s, and her cream-colored blazer likely cost more than my first month's rent. Theodore stands beside her, hands jammed in the pockets of designer jeans, a calculated casual look that probably cost more than most people's formal wear. Surprise. Mother trills, lifting the cake box slightly. We thought we'd stop by and celebrate your Forbes feature. No hard feelings about missing your calls lately. The receptionist watches with undisguised curiosity. 2 packaging designers glance over from the break room. How thoughtful, I say, maintaining my composure while acutely aware of my staff watching this performance. Let's talk in the conference room. Mother's eyes sweep across our modern workspace, taking inventory of the exposed brick walls, the Edison bulb lighting fixtures, the sleek workstations where my team creates products that have earned us shelf space in luxury department stores across America. Theodore trails behind us, pausing to examine a display case holding our best-selling facial serum. You must be making a fortune from these little things, he remarks, tapping the glass. My marketing director emerges from her office, coffee mug in hand. Jessica, Theodore says, flashing the smile that charmed his way through college. Don't you look fantastic? Still handling my sister's advertising? Jessica's professional smile never wavers. Director of Brand Strategy now. Pleasure seeing you again, Theodore. Theodore. I guide them toward the small conference room, away from curious eyes and ears. Mother runs her fingertip along a walnut tabletop as we enter. 16,000 for this table alone, I'd wager, she whispers, not quite quietly enough. Once the door closes behind us, I turn to face them. This is my workplace, not a family reunion venue. Why are you really here? Mother sets the cake down, hurt flashing across her features. Can't we visit our successful daughter without an agenda? Theodore sprawls in one of the leather chairs. Yeah, sis, don't be so suspicious. The last time we spoke, I remind him, you asked for $300,000 for your racing team. The time before that, Mother hinted about Theodore's wedding costs. Forgive me for suspecting this isn't just a social call. Mother's expression hardens. You've changed. Success has made you cold. I haven't changed, I counter, remaining standing while they sit. I've just stopped pretending. Theodore leans forward. Come on, sis, we're family. That means something. The word family hangs between us, weighted with expectations, with history, with the motorcycle loan I paid off while working 3 jobs, with birthdays spent alone while they attended Theodore's races. Yes, it does. I agree, my voice steady. Family should mean love without invoices, support without conditions, celebration without calculation. Mother's eyes narrow. After all we've sacrificed for you. What exactly did you sacrifice? The question escapes before I can filter it. When I needed co-signers for my first business loan, you said it was too risky. When I worked 18-hour days launching this company, you never once brought me cake. When I celebrated alone at Ellison's on my birthday, your phones were apparently all broken simultaneously. Theodore shifts uncomfortably. That's not fair. What's not fair is using family as currency, I interrupt. I don't need family only when I'm successful. I don't need cake only when there's something in it for you. We've always been proud of you, Mother insists, but her eyes dart toward the door, calculating her next move. I believe you, I say, softening my tone slightly. But I've learned to live without pretending. I'll always love you both, but this company isn't a family ATM. My success doesn't create an obligation. Mother gathers her designer handbag, straightening her shoulders. I see we've caught you at a bad time. Any time you come with expectations rather than genuine support will be a bad time, I reply. They leave with stiff goodbyes and promises to call later. Through the glass walls, I watch them cross the reception area, Mother's back rigid with indignation, Theodore's stride betraying his frustration. When the elevator doors close behind them, I exhale fully for what feels like the first time in an hour. My phone buzzes with a text from Alexander. Coffee after your ambush? Proud of you for standing your ground. Word travels fast. Rachel must have heard from Jessica. Another text arrives from my business partner. Taking the afternoon meetings. Take some time if needed. 10 minutes later, my mentor calls. How are you holding up? She asks, her voice carrying the wisdom of someone who's navigated similar waters. Better than expected, I answer truthfully. That evening, I draft an email declining Theodore's wedding invitation, attaching a generous but appropriate gift card. I create clear guidelines for future communications with my parents. My financial advisor helps establish a trust for genuine family emergencies, not demands. When I finish, I pour a glass of Cabernet and stand at my condo window overlooking Boulder's twinkling lights. For the first time, I understand that boundaries aren't walls built from anger. They're fences constructed with self-respect. Later that night, my phone pings with a notification. Theodore's Facebook status glows on my screen. Some people only care about money, not family. Already, mutual friends are tagging me, the gossip spreading like wildfire. My finger hovers over the keyboard, a dozen responses forming and dissolving in my mind. Then Alexander's text arrives. Remember, your truth doesn't need defending. I set my phone down, choosing dignity over defensiveness. The chapter of apologizing for my boundaries has ended. The story of living with integrity has only begun. 2 days after the confrontation, the cursor blinks on my screen, mocking me. I've typed and deleted the same response 14 times. Theodore's Facebook post glares at me from my laptop. Some people only care about money, not family. Blood used to mean something. I exhale slowly, fingers hovering over the keyboard. The knot in my stomach tightens as friends tag me in comments, asking if there's family drama happening. 3 college acquaintances have already messaged asking if I'm okay. The living room window frames Boulder's mountains, bathed in early morning light. I've been sitting here since 5 a.m., nursing coffee gone cold, thinking about legacies and lies. I type carefully, reading each word twice before moving to the next. Family isn't a debt. It's a place where love should be unconditional. I hope everyone finds that place, including me. My thumb hovers over post for 8 seconds before pressing down. Done. No lengthy explanation. No accusations. Just truth. Within minutes, notifications flood my phone. Friends from business school, former colleagues, even my 3rd-grade teacher who somehow found me on social media years ago. Stay strong, Farah. Been there. You're handling this with such grace. This resonates deeply. Thank you for your honesty. I set my phone face down on the coffee table, breathing into the silence of my apartment. Strange, how 15 words can feel like shedding a 100-pound backpack. The landline rings, the number I give only to business associates and close friends. Rachel's voice comes through, warm and steady. I saw your post. You okay? Better than I expected. I curl deeper into my armchair, watching a hummingbird dart around my balcony feeder. It feels clean. Clean is good. Rachel pauses. Theodore's gone nuclear in the family group chat. Your mother called me this morning asking if I could talk some sense into you. My laugh comes out sharper than intended. And what did you tell her? That you made perfect sense already. The smile in Rachel's voice fades. Listen, they're calling around. Your father phoned James from the Chamber of Commerce breakfast group. The hummingbird freezes midair, then zips away as a shadow passes. Trying to damage control by rewriting history? Pretty much. Something about how they've supported your business from day one, but you've grown distant since becoming successful. I press my fingertips against closed eyelids until stars appear. 22 investors believed in my company before my parents did. They never even asked what Verdant Alchemy made until the Forbes feature. I know, honey. Just giving you the heads up. Oh, and your mother's church prayer group got an earful about her troubled daughter who's forgotten her values. The familiar weight settles back between my shoulder blades. Right on schedule. After Rachel's call, I shower and dress carefully. Forest green silk blouse, tailored black pants, simple gold earrings, armor for the day ahead. My assistant Emma meets me at the office door, coffee extended like a shield. 3 calls from someone named Theodore. Should I keep blocking? Yes, please. I accept the coffee with a grateful nod. Any messages from investors? Emma's expression shifts. Mr. Harrington from Keystone Capital called. Said your brother contacted him with concerns about company stability. He seemed confused. Heat flashes across my face, my fingers tightening around the cup. Theodore actually contacted my investors? The boundary violation staggers me. Call Mr. Harrington back immediately. Schedule a lunch if he's available. 2 hours later, I sit across from James Harrington at Ellison's, the same restaurant where this journey began 3 years ago. The irony doesn't escape me. I appreciate your time. I begin, meeting his gaze directly. I understand my brother contacted you. James nods, leaning back in his chair, his gray eyebrows knit together. Said something about family troubles affecting business decisions. Wanted to warn me. He studies me over his reading glasses. Not very professional. No, I agree. Family and business are separate entities in my world, James. Always have been. Anything. Good. He unfolds his napkin with deliberate care. The quarterly reports speak for themselves, Farah. 28% growth doesn't lie. The knot in my stomach loosens slightly. Thank you for your continued confidence. Your brother seemed entitled to your success. James chooses his words carefully. Mentioned something about family collaboration being owed to him. Owed. I don't flinch. There will be no collaboration. Smart call. He picks up his menu. Now, shall we order? I hear the salmon is excellent. Back at the office, I pull up the application form for the Verdant Foundation, my newest project, supporting young female entrepreneurs. The cursor blinks, steady now, rather than mocking. I fill in the final details, then press launch. Later that evening, I receive the notification that my donation to the Colorado Motorcycle Safety Initiative has been processed. $20,000. Anonymous. No press release. No social media announcement, just quiet action. My phone buzzes with a message from my father. Your mother is devastated. This public humiliation is beneath you, Farah. I set the phone aside without responding and pour a glass of wine. The Verdant Foundation website has already received 12 applications. My inbox contains 3 interview requests from business journals, none mentioning family drama, all focused on company growth and environmental initiatives. When the doorbell rings at 7, Alexander stands there holding takeout bags. His eyes crinkle at the corners. Thought you might not want to go out tonight. You thought right. I step aside to let him in. Theodore contacted my investors. Alexander sets the food down, his expression darkening. That crosses every line. They didn't buy it. I pull plates from the cabinet. Turns out consistent professionalism speaks louder than desperate accusations. Of course it does. Alexander unpacks containers of Thai food. Your restraint is remarkable, Farah. Most people would have responded with matching fire. I shrug, but warmth blooms in my chest at his words. Fire just makes more smoke. I'm interested in clarity. We eat on the balcony, watching the sunset paint Boulder's mountains in amber and gold. My phone buzzes repeatedly. Theodore's fiancé now, saying they need to clear the air before the wedding. Thanks for watching, and I doing the clear the setter out maters the wedding. Did you see the comment from Sandra Werner? Alexander asks, refilling my wine glass. Theodore's racing sponsor? No, what did she say? That she's reconsidering their partnership after recent revelations about character. He raises an eyebrow. Apparently your mother's version of events reached her, but backfired. I take a slow sip of wine. I never asked for that. You didn't have to. Truth has a way of finding daylight. As night falls over Boulder, my email pings with a message from my business mentor, Diane. Proud of you. Leading a webinar next month on ethical business practices. Keynote spot has your name on it if you want it. Later, as Alexander prepares to leave, he pauses at the door. You know they're only escalating because they're losing control, right? I nod. I know. I can feel the cracks forming. Your mother called Rachel again, apparently. Less confident this time. Used the phrase, might have pushed too hard. Something shifts inside me, not satisfaction, exactly, but vindication. Did she now? And I ran into your father at the coffee shop this morning. He looked contemplative. Said something about wishing they'd invested in your company from the beginning. I lean against the doorframe, suddenly tired. 3 years too late for that realization. Alexander touches my shoulder gently, but not too late for you to live your truth. After he leaves, I sit on the balcony in darkness, laptop open to Theodore's latest group chat message. She's destroyed this family with her selfishness. Below it, a surprising response from his fiancée, Melissa. Maybe we should all step back and think about what we're asking from her? I close the laptop without responding. Tomorrow will bring more accusations, more attempts to rewrite history. But tonight, I've discovered that silence, too, can be strength. Sometimes, the most powerful response is simply to keep building while others try to burn. The voicemail from Mother plays for the 3rd time, her voice wavering with practiced vulnerability. Farah, sweetheart, I know things have been strained. But we're still your parents, no matter what. Some bonds can't be broken even when they stretch. I press delete and set my phone on the kitchen counter. The late sunshine spills through my condo windows, painting warm rectangles across the hardwood floor. Against my better judgment, I picked up the envelope that arrived yesterday, ivory cardstock with gold foil edging. Theodore's wedding invitation. The handwritten note tucked inside reads, "Time for family healing. We miss you, Mom and Dad." My stomach twists. 3 weeks of this campaign now. The carefully timed calls, the texts dripping with apologies that somehow still manage to avoid acknowledging any actual wrongdoing. Just yesterday, Theodore's fiancée Jessica left a voicemail about building bridges before the big day. Is this seat taken? I look up to find Alexander in my doorway, coat draped over his arm, a paper bag from Spruce Bakery in his hand. My shoulders relax at the sight of him. Only by ghosts and guilt trips, I say, sliding the invitation across the counter. Latest artillery in the reconciliation campaign. Alexander sets down 2 coffees and studies the invitation. Quite the production. The wedding at the Brown Palace? Someone's parents are feeling generous. Or someone's sister is expected to be. I take a grateful sip of the coffee he's brought, dark roast with a splash of almond milk. Exactly how I like it. And what about these? Alexander gestures toward the stack of photo albums on my coffee table. Recent arrivals? FedEx delivery yesterday. Family albums dating back to my 5th birthday, complete with post-it notes marking special memories. I walk over and flip one open to a flagged page. This one says, "Remember Christmas 1998? You were so excited about the family tradition." Subtle, Alexander says, his mouth quirking. My phone buzzes with another text. Theodore. Dad mentioned his blood pressure's been high lately. Really hoping you'll reconsider coming to the wedding. Would mean a lot to all of us. Alexander catches my expression. More health concerns? Theodore says Dad's blood pressure is up. I set the phone down. Last week it was Mom's migraines. They're getting creative, Alexander notes, settling onto one of my kitchen stools. How are you holding up? I trace the rim of my coffee cup. I keep thinking I should feel worse about all this. Shouldn't I be torn apart? Sobbing over photo albums at midnight? And you're not? I feel tired, like I'm watching a movie I've seen too many times. I meet his eyes. Is that cold? Alexander considers this, the morning light catching the silver at his temples. I don't think it's cold, I think it's clarity. After years of the same pattern, you've stopped mistaking familiarity for obligation. I don't want to hate them, I say quietly. Boundaries aren't about hate, Farah. They're about health. Alexander's voice gentles. You can forgive someone without resuming the same relationship. Something shifts inside me at his words, a tightness loosening. Forgiveness without restoration. Exactly. You can acknowledge the love that exists while recognizing its limitations. Alexander sips his coffee. What would a healthy relationship with your family actually look like? I've never really considered this question before. My options always seemed binary. Give them everything or sever all ties. But perhaps there's middle ground territory I can map myself. Limited contact. I begin slowly. Scheduled interactions in neutral public places. No business entanglements. And clear expectations of mutual respect. Alexander nods. That sounds reasonable. But will they accept it? Theodore's wedding is soon. The question isn't whether they'll accept it, Alexander says. It's whether you can enforce it regardless of their reaction. I straighten my shoulders. I can. Later that evening, with Alexander's perspective still fresh in my mind, I draft an email to my family. No accusations, no itemized lists of past wrongs, just clear, forward-facing boundaries. I outline the terms under which I'm willing to attend Theodore's wedding and maintain a relationship moving forward. When I finally click send, something shifts inside me. Not the weightlessness of escape, but the solid certainty of choosing my own path. On the wedding day, I stand in the glittering ballroom of the Brown Palace Hotel, a glass of champagne cooling my palm. The wedding ceremony concluded 30 minutes ago, and now the reception swirls around me, distant relatives, circulating like curious fish, friends of my parents eyeing me with speculation. Alexander stands beside me in a charcoal suit, his presence a steady anchor. Theodore approaches, champagne in hand, his new wife Jessica beside him. You made it, he says, surprise evident despite our email exchanges confirming my attendance. And you brought a date. Alexander, I introduce simply. Congratulations to you both. Jessica beams. Thank you for coming, Farah. Your gift was so thoughtful. The leather-bound financial planning book and modest check, generous but appropriate, sit alongside crystal vases and silver serving trays on the gift table. The card attached reads, wishing you a partnership built on mutual support and respect. Love, Farah. Farah. Theodore shifts uncomfortably. Listen, Farah. About the racing team. Alexander's hand touches my waist lightly. A subtle reminder of our agreement. I would attend for 3 hours maximum, with no business discussions. Today is about your marriage, Theo. I interrupt gently. Let's keep it that way. Theodore's jaw tightens momentarily before he nods. Right, of course. He glances at Alexander. So, how did you two meet? Over birthday candles, Alexander answers smoothly, saving me from having to explain that night 3 years ago. We exchange a few more pleasantries before they move on to greet other guests. I exhale slowly. Holding up? Alexander murmurs. Better than expected. I scan the room. though Mother has been circling for the past 20 minutes. As if summoned, she appears at my elbow, elegant in pale blue chiffon, her perfume a cloud of gardenias and expectation. Darling, could I steal you for just a moment? Her smile includes Alexander, excluding him simultaneously. Family matters. I meet Alexander's eyes. I'll be right back. Mother guides me to a quiet alcove near the dessert table, her fingers light but insistent on my arm. Once we're alone, her smile dims. You look lovely, Farah, she begins. But I must say, your father and I were hurt by that email. Setting terms for attending your own brother's wedding, it felt very cold. I take a careful breath. I needed clarity about expectations. We're family, she says, as if this single word should override all other considerations. Family supports each other without conditions. That support should flow both ways, Mom. My voice remains steady. I love you, but I've learned to love myself too. Something flickers in her eyes, frustration, perhaps, or the first recognition that her usual tactics no longer work on me. Your father and I won't be around forever, you know. I know, I say gently. And when you need me, truly need me, I'll be there. But what you're asking for isn't need, it's entitlement. She stares at me, this daughter who no longer bends to guilt. You've changed, Farah. I have, I agree, but I still love you. I check my watch. We've been at the reception for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Alexander and I should be going soon. Early meeting tomorrow. Mother opens her mouth as if to protest, then closes it again. For the first time in my life, I see her accept a boundary I've set, without pushing against it. Will you call next week? She asks, her voice smaller than I'm used to hearing it. Sunday afternoon, I confirm, for 30 minutes, as we agreed in the email. As we rejoin the celebration, I spot Theodore watching us from across the room. Our eyes meet, and something passes between us, not warmth exactly, but perhaps the beginning of respect. He raises his glass slightly, a gesture both acknowledgement and surrender. Alexander's hand finds mine as we make our way toward the exit. Ready? I look back once at my family, Mother, returning to Father's side. Theodore dancing with his bride, the constellation of relatives and friends, spinning in their familiar orbits. They will continue without me tonight, and I will return on my own terms another day. Yes, I say, squeezing Alexander's hand. I'm ready. A year later, the birthday candles flicker in my kitchen, casting a warm glow across the faces gathered around my marble island counter. Alexander stands beside me, his shoulder brushing mine as he adjusts his glasses and smiles. Rachel raises her wine glass, the ruby liquid catching the light. To choosing your family and your future, she toasts, her voice steady and sure. The small gathering 5 people who genuinely want to be here erupts in cheers. My heart swells as I survey my home, filled with the gentle hum of conversation and laughter. No empty chairs. No checking my phone every 5 minutes. No brittle smile pasted on my face. Make a wish, Alexander whispers, his breath warm against my ear. I close my eyes, but for once, I struggle to think of what to wish for. My business hit a $45 million valuation last quarter. The entrepreneurship book Alexander and I wrote sits proudly on my coffee table, its cover embossed with gold lettering, and most importantly, the gnawing ache of family disappointment has faded to a distant memory. I blow out the candles in one decisive breath. Same restaurant as 4 years ago, Rachel observes, cutting into the chocolate cake, but completely different energy. Different company makes all the difference, I reply, accepting a plate from her. Later, as guests mingle in my living room, I slip away to my study. My leather-bound journal waits in the desk drawer where I left it this morning. I trace my fingers over today's entry. Love doesn't require sacrifice of self. These years of therapy helped me understand that boundaries aren't walls, they're healthy fences with gates I control. My family and I maintain a cordial relationship now. I attend holiday dinners when it feels right. Theodore brings his wife. My parents ask about my business without suggesting how to run it. We've found a balance. I can love them without surrendering my peace. The doorbell chimes. A young woman named Jessica stands on my threshold, clutching a notebook. She's one of 5 entrepreneurs I mentor through my foundation. Sorry to crash your party, she says, twisting her hands nervously. But I've been offered a partnership with my father's business, and I don't know how to tell him I want to build something of my own. I usher her inside. Family business pressure? She nods, eyes downcast. He's invested so much. I feel obligated. Obligation and love are different currencies, I tell her, pouring her a cup of coffee. One depletes you, the other fills you up. As I guide Jessica through separating her father's dreams from her own, I realize how far I've come. The woman who once paid off her brother's motorcycle loan without complaint now teaches others to honor their own worth. My talk show appearance last month resonated with thousands. Forgiving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you again, I'd said, watching the studio audience nod in recognition. Those words became a lifeline for people struggling to break free from toxic patterns. In the kitchen, Alexander lights a single candle on the remaining slice of cake. We blow it out together, our fingers intertwined on the counter. Our book, dedicated to dreamers who find themselves alone at pivotal moments, has already helped countless others recognize their own worth. Do you ever wish they had shown up that night years ago? He asks, referring to my lonely birthday when we first met. I shake my head, a soft smile playing across my lips. No, because if they had, I might never have met the man who taught me that kindness can come from anyone, even a stranger. Later, we stand on my balcony, watching the sunset paint the skyline in strokes of amber and gold. City lights begin to twinkle one by one, like stars emerging in an urban sky. Alexander appears with 2 glasses of Cabernet, the same wine I ordered that fateful night. Any regrets about your journey? He asks, handing me a glass. I take a sip, savoring the rich complexity. Sometimes, the loneliest birthday becomes the first gift of freedom and the beginning of a beautiful connection. The wine tastes of celebration now, not solitude. As darkness settles over the city, I realize that the birthday candles that once burned alone now light a path forward, surrounded by people who choose to be present, not merely obligated to appear.